Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Super English Talks. I am so happy, so truly excited to be here with you today.
Why?
Because today's topic is something very close to your heart, something that matters deeply to every English learner. It's about finding your voice in English. We often talk about things like listening practice, grammar rules, or learning new vocabulary. These things are important, very important. Think of them like the soil and the roots of a tree. Without them, the tree cannot grow strong. But at some point, you don't just want roots, you want the tree to stand tall, to grow leaves and branches, to be alive. That moment is when you decide, I don't just want to study English. I want to actually speak English. I want to show people who I am in this language. And this is where many learners feel the real challenge. Maybe you are an intermediate learner. You already know a lot of grammar. You can understand movies without subtitles. You can read books and articles. Your brain is full of ideas. You can even create sentences in your head. But then, when the time comes to speak, suddenly the words don't come out. Or they come out mixed up. Or maybe you just freeze. Too shy to continue. Does that sound like you? If yes, then please don't worry. You are not alone. Many learners go through the exact same thing. And you are in the right place, because today's episode is not just another English lesson. Today, we're going to take a full, deep look at speaking. Not just the technical side, but the human side, the feelings, the fears, and the solutions that can help you finally speak with confidence. Now, let's ask the big question. Why is speaking so hard, even after you've already passed the beginner stage? You've done the grammar exercises. You've built up your vocabulary. You can understand most conversations around you. But still, when it comes to speaking, it feels like climbing a steep, slippery mountain. Here's one of the biggest reasons: the fear of mistakes. This fear is sneaky. It hides inside your thoughts. It whispers to you, what if you say it wrong? What if people laugh? What if they don't understand you? You worry about pronouncing a word incorrectly. You worry about using the wrong verb tense. You even worry about small words like in or on. And slowly, all this worry puts so much pressure on you that you stop speaking at all. Instead of talking freely, you pause. You think too much. You hold back. And then you miss the chance to connect. It's almost like you are so busy trying to be perfect that you forget the real reason for speaking. And what is the real reason? It is simple: to share, to connect, to express yourself. That's it. Not to be perfect, not to be flawless, but to connect with people. And that's exactly what we're going to work on together in this episode. We're going to break down this fear step by step and help you find your voice in English. So stay with me, because by the end of this conversation, I want you to feel more confident, more ready, and more excited to speak than ever before. I remember a young woman named Mia. She was a brilliant architect from Barcelona, living in London at the time. Now, Mia's written English was almost perfect. She could write beautiful emails, clear project notes, and detailed architectural plans without any problems. Her grammar was excellent, her vocabulary was wide, and her mind was full of English. But when it came to speaking, everything changed. In meetings at work, at social gatherings, or even just ordering a coffee, she would often freeze. Her voice would drop so low that people could hardly hear her. One day, when we were talking, Mia admitted something to me. She said, I just can't do it. Every time I open my mouth, I feel like everyone is waiting for me to make a mistake. And when I finally do make one, my face burns, and I just want to disappear. I know the grammar rule in my head, but my tongue doesn't follow. It's like my brain isn't connected to my mouth. That feeling of her brain being disconnected from her mouth was a huge roadblock. She had all the knowledge, but the pressure to be perfect stopped her from using it. Imagine a puzzle with all the pieces laid out in front of you. You know they fit together, but you are so afraid of putting a piece in the wrong place that you don't even try. That's what was happening to Mia. She would spend so much time and energy trying to form the perfect sentence in her head that, by the time she was ready, the conversation had already moved on. And this left her feeling frustrated, invisible, and left behind. It became a painful cycle. The more she feared making mistakes, the less she spoke. The less she spoke, the more she felt isolated. And the more isolated she felt, the stronger her fear of mistakes became. Mia's story is not rare. In fact, it's very common. Many learners carry the same fear, the fear of not being perfect, the fear of being judged for even one small error. But here's the truth. When you aim to be flawless, you often stop yourself from starting at all. And no progress can ever happen if you don't start. We'll come back to Mia's story in a little while and talk about the brave steps she took to overcome this fear. But before that, let's look at another big reason why speaking English feels so hard. And that reason is the habit of thinking in your first language first. For many learners, your brain's default is still your native language. That means when you want to say something in English, the thought first appears in your own language. Then your brain quickly tries to translate each word, one by one, into English. After that, you finally try to say it out loud. Now, this extra step, the back and forth translation, is slow and heavy. It's like trying to walk through a busy city while using two different maps at the same time. You spend so much effort switching between them that you can't move quickly or naturally. And in conversation, speed matters. By the time you've built that perfect sentence in your head, the conversation has often moved on. You're left behind, feeling upset, frustrated, and out of rhythm. Very similar to this problem of translation is another challenge, trying to understand and speak at the same time. Think about a normal conversation, especially with native speakers. People talk fast, very fast. In just a few seconds, your brain has to do 3 big jobs. Listen and understand what the other person is saying. Think of your response. Speak your response clearly. That's a lot for your brain to handle at once, especially if you're still carrying the extra weight of translation or the fear of mistakes. And this is where many learners feel stuck, right in the middle of understanding and speaking, trying to do both under pressure. Think for a moment about what really happens when you try to speak English. First, your ears are busy hearing the sounds. Next, your brain is trying to understand the meaning. Then you need to search for the right words, build them into a sentence, and finally, you have to make your mouth and tongue move in the right way to say those words. That's a lot of steps, isn't it? No wonder speaking sometimes feels like hard work. If your brain is still busy with the first 2 steps, hearing and understanding, it often doesn't have enough energy left for the 3rd step, actually speaking. And this is when the awkward pauses come in. The long silences, the or sounds, or even just going completely blank, like your mind has shut down. Another challenge is the gap between the words you know and the words you actually use. Most English learners have a big passive vocabulary. This means you understand a lot of words when you read them in a book or when you hear them in a movie or podcast. But how many of those words can you actively use in conversation without stopping to think? Usually, it's a much smaller number. It's like owning a huge library full of books, but when someone asks you for a recommendation, you always end up pointing to the same 10 books at the front of the shelf. The rest are there, but you don't use them. To become a fluent speaker, you need to close this gap. You need to move words from your "I understand this" list to your "I can say this" list. That's one of the most important steps in growing your active speaking power. And then, of course, there's a very practical problem: the lack of chances to practice. If you don't live in an English-speaking country, or if your friends and family don't speak English, it can feel almost impossible to find real people to talk to. Many learners feel alone on this journey, like they're studying English in a vacuum with no one to use it with. And the truth is, if you don't give your speaking muscles a regular workout, they won't grow strong. But here's the good news. Every single one of these problems, yes, every one, can be solved step by step. None of them are permanent. They are challenges, not walls. And you can absolutely overcome them.
How?
It begins not with more grammar books or longer vocabulary lists, but with something deeper, a change in how you think. This is where real progress starts, inside your own head. Because the biggest thing stopping you from speaking is not usually your knowledge of English. It's how you feel about speaking English. Most of you already have a solid foundation in the language. You know enough grammar. You know enough words. What you need now is permission. The permission to use your English, even if it's not perfect. And this permission comes from a mindset shift. The first, most important mindset change is this: accept not being perfect. Learn to welcome mistakes instead of fearing them. Think about a baby learning to walk. The baby falls again and again. Every stumble, every fall, is not a failure, it's feedback. Each fall teaches balance. Each fall makes the legs stronger. And in the end, the baby walks with confidence. Speaking English works the same way. Every grammar slip, every mispronounced word, is not the end of the world. It's a step forward. It's proof that you are trying. Proof that you are learning. Without these mistakes, there is no progress. Let me share the story of Liam, a talented graphic designer from Berlin. In German, his native language, Liam was incredibly expressive. He could explain complex ideas, tell funny stories, and hold deep conversations with ease. But in English, he felt completely different. He often said, "I feel like I'm building every single sentence from zero. Every time I speak, it feels like starting from scratch. It's exhausting." Liam often told me, "I know the words separately, but they just don't click together naturally." He was exhausted by the constant pressure he put on himself to speak perfectly. So I encouraged him to try something I call the embrace the chaos mindset. What does that mean? It means giving yourself full permission to make mistakes, to stumble, to sound imperfect, to let go of control and simply focus on sharing your message. At first, this idea felt strange to him. But then we set a new, fun goal. Every day, Liam aimed to make at least 5 clear mistakes in English. Yes, you heard that right. 5 mistakes a day. He tried this with himself, with his online language partner, even at work. And here's the magic. By actively looking for mistakes, Liam began to see them in a new light. They were no longer embarrassing failures. They were proof of progress. They showed him where to improve. And something amazing happened. He discovered that most people didn't even notice his small errors. And when they did, they were usually kind, patient, and understanding. That heavy fear he carried started to disappear. This shift from fearing mistakes to actually welcoming them was like a huge weight lifting off his shoulders. His speech became freer, smoother, and much more natural. And here's the beautiful part. As he spoke more, as he practiced more, his accuracy began to improve too, without forcing it. By letting go of perfection, he actually got better. Liam's story shows us a powerful truth. The path to fluent speaking isn't built by avoiding errors. It's built by walking straight through them, bravely and consistently. And this takes us to the second important mindset change. Focus on speaking easily, not perfectly. When you're building your speaking muscles, your first goal isn't to be 100% correct. Your first goal is to keep the conversation alive. Don't stop in the middle of a sentence just to fix a small grammar mistake. Don't freeze for 10 seconds trying to find the perfect word. Just say what you can. Use the words you already have. If your listener understands your message, then you have succeeded. That's the real goal of communication. Think of it like learning to swim. When you first jump into the water, your goal isn't to swim like an Olympic champion. It's not about being fast or elegant. Your first goal is simple. Keep your head above the water. Keep moving. Breathe. Don't sink. Sure, you'll splash. Sure, your strokes won't look great. But guess what? You're swimming. And as you practice, you'll naturally improve. Speaking English works exactly the same way. Don't aim for perfection in the beginning. Aim for flow. Aim for keeping the conversation going. The accuracy, the fine details, will grow as you keep practicing. And then comes the third powerful mindset change. Celebrate small wins. Here's the problem many learners face. They only focus on the big, faraway goal. They compare where they are now to the level of a native speaker or to some perfect version of English they want to reach. And that big gap feels discouraging. But progress doesn't live in the big picture. It lives in the small steps. So shift your focus. Pay attention to the tiny victories you achieve every single day. Did you order food in English today? That's a win. Did you understand a tricky phrase in a song? That's a win. Did you manage to explain a complicated idea, even if it took a little time? That's a win too. Each of these small steps is huge. Each one is proof that you are moving forward. And when you celebrate them, you build motivation, confidence, and energy for the next step. Think of your progress like building a wall. Each brick you place is a success. Each time you practice, each word you say is another brick. Now, if you only stare at the giant wall you want to build, it feels overwhelming, almost impossible. But if you focus on just one brick at a time, laying it down carefully, then another, and then another, the wall slowly rises. Step by step, brick by brick, your English becomes stronger and more solid. And that's why celebrating small wins matters so much. Each little success you notice gives you energy. It makes you feel proud. It creates a positive cycle. You try, you succeed in some small way, you feel good, and then you want to try again. This momentum is what keeps you moving forward, even when the road feels long. Now, let's talk about something very powerful: confidence. Many learners believe confidence is something you're either born with or not. But that's not true. Confidence is like a muscle in your body. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. And how do you train your confidence muscle? By speaking. Even when you feel nervous. Especially when you feel nervous. Each time you push through that uncomfortable feeling and open your mouth to say something in English, you are training your confidence. At first, it may feel shaky, just like the first push-ups or first time lifting weights in the gym. But little by little, day after day, your confidence grows. And one day, you'll look back and realize you're speaking with a natural ease you once thought was impossible. Here's another tool that works like magic. Imagine success before it happens. Before a conversation, before a meeting, or even before you practice speaking alone, pause for a moment. Close your eyes and picture yourself speaking English clearly, calmly, and with confidence. Imagine the words flowing smoothly. Imagine your listener smiling, nodding, understanding you. This kind of mental practice is powerful. It prepares your brain. It reduces fear. It plants seeds of success before you even begin. Many top athletes, performers, and public speakers use this technique, and you can too. So remember this. Your English speaking journey doesn't begin with vocabulary lists or grammar exercises. It begins with courage, self-kindness, and belief in yourself. This mindset shift is the foundation. It's the strong ground where all other learning tools will stand. And with that strong base, we're ready to move into the next stage, the practical steps. These are not just nice ideas. They are real, simple actions you can put into your daily life to transform English from something you study into something you use. Let's start with Pillar 1. Thinking in English, training your brain's new language. Earlier, we touched on how translating slows you down. Your brain thinks in your native language, then tries to switch everything into English. This extra step makes your speech feel heavy and unnatural. The goal is to skip translation altogether, to form your thoughts directly in English. This might sound difficult, but it's absolutely possible. And when you achieve it, your speaking becomes faster, smoother, and more natural. It's one of the most powerful changes you can make for true fluency. So, how do you actually train your brain to think in English? Pillar 2. Building active vocabulary and phrases beyond single words. For many learners, the challenge isn't that they don't know enough words. It's that they don't know how to use those words quickly and naturally in real conversation. Knowing words passively, recognizing them in reading or listening, is very different from being able to call on them in the moment while speaking. So, the goal here is to move vocabulary from your passive memory into your active speaking toolbox. And the best way to do that is by focusing not on single words, but on chunks of language, groups of words that naturally go together. 1. Learn and practice collocations. Collocations are word pairs or groups that English speakers always use together. For example, we say, make a decision, not do a decision. Catch a cold, not take a cold. Heavy traffic, not strong traffic. When you learn a new word, don't learn it alone. Learn its partner words too. If you pick up the noun coffee, learn phrases like make coffee, black coffee, strong coffee, a cup of coffee. This way, when you speak, your brain can pull out ready-made chunks instead of building sentences word by word. 2. Master phrasal verbs step by step. Phrasal verbs are everywhere in spoken English. They make your speech sound natural, but they can feel confusing because their meaning often changes. Look up to search for information. I need to look up that word. Look up to admire. I really look up to my teacher. Look down on to disrespect. He looks down on people who don't agree with him. Don't try to memorize hundreds of phrasal verbs at once. It will only frustrate you. Instead, focus on the ones you hear often in shows, podcasts, or daily conversations. Practice them in your own sentences until they feel automatic. 3. Use idioms naturally. Idioms are phrases whose meanings can't be understood from the words alone. For example, it's raining cats and dogs, it's raining heavily. Break the ice, start a conversation in a friendly way. Hit the nail on the head, say something exactly right. The key with idioms is to use them in the right context. Don't force them into your speech. Instead, listen for idioms in real English and copy the ones you find useful. Just 1 or 2 idioms used naturally can make your English sound more fluent and expressive. 4. Practice with ready-made phrases. Fluent speakers don't just rely on grammar rules. They rely on ready-made phrases that fit common situations. For example, "That's a good point. I see what you mean.
Let me think about that."
To be honest, I'm not sure." These short expressions are like shortcuts. They help you keep the conversation flowing while you organize your thoughts. Collect phrases like these in a notebook or app and use them in daily practice. Action step for today. Choose 5 collocations, 3 phrasal verbs, and 2 short conversational phrases that feel useful for your life. Write them down, practice saying them out loud, and then try to use them in your inner talk or in a conversation. The more you practice words as connected phrases, the easier and faster your English will become in real situations. Pillar 3. The power of imitation, shadowing, and mimicry. We touched on shadowing earlier as a listening tool, but for speaking, it is an absolute game changer. Shadowing means listening to a native English speaker and speaking along at the same time, almost like singing along with a song but with spoken language. You copy not only the words, but also the rhythm, the melody, the pauses, and even the emotion in the speaker's voice. Think of it as being a language parrot, but a very smart parrot with a purpose. Why shadowing is so powerful. Muscle training. Speaking English requires your lips, tongue, and jaw to move in ways that might be very different from your first language. Shadowing trains these speech muscles the same way an athlete trains their body. Automatic rhythm. English has a special rhythm and stress pattern. By copying a native speaker exactly, you absorb these patterns naturally without having to analyze rules. Brain-mouth connection. Shadowing connects your ear, your brain, and your mouth in one smooth loop. Instead of just understanding English passively, you perform it actively. Confidence boost. Because you're not inventing sentences, you can focus fully on how the English sounds, not on what to say. This removes pressure and builds fluency. How to practice shadowing. Choose the right material. Start with short, clear audio, maybe 30 to 60 seconds. It could be a podcast clip, a short YouTube video, or even a scene from a TV show. Listen first. Play the clip once or twice just to understand the meaning and context.
Don't shadow yet.
Shadow in real time. Play the clip again and speak along with it immediately, trying to match speed, intonation, and emotion as closely as possible. Don't worry if you miss a word, keep going. Repeat and refine. Do the same clip several times. With each repetition, you'll notice your mouth moving more smoothly, your speech getting closer to the original. Record yourself. Occasionally record your shadowing practice. Compare it with the original to notice where your pronunciation or rhythm could improve. Going beyond shadowing. Mimicry. Shadowing is about speaking with the speaker. Mimicry goes one step further. After listening, you stop the audio and repeat what you heard in the same style. It's like acting in English. Mimicry helps you capture the character of English, its energy, tone, and emotion. Action step. For the next 7 days, pick one short audio clip each day, 30 to 60 seconds. Spend 10 minutes shadowing it, then 5 minutes mimicking it from memory. By the end of the week, you'll notice your English sounding smoother, more natural, and more confident. Pillar 4. Active output. Creating your own English. Shadowing trains your ear, your rhythm, and your mouth. But the real test of fluency is when you create language from your own mind. Active output is about transforming what you know into what you can say. This is the stage where English stops being just input and becomes your voice. Talking to yourself, the next level. We've touched on self-talk before, but now let's upgrade it. Complex inner talks. Go beyond simple statements like, "I'm cooking rice." Challenge yourself with full ideas. I'm cooking rice because I want to try a new recipe my friend recommended. I hope it turns out fluffy, not sticky. This builds natural sentence flow and helps you practice linking ideas. Role-play conversations. Imagine real-life situations. Ordering at a restaurant, meeting a new colleague, asking for directions, or explaining your opinion. Speak through the whole interaction as if you're living it. Argue with yourself. Pick a topic and take two sides. For example, side A. Public transport is better because it's cheap and good for the environment. Side B. But cars give you more freedom and save time. This exercise forces you to find words for different perspectives and practice spontaneous reasoning in English. Daily storytelling. At the end of your day, tell the story of what happened out loud, not just in your head. This morning I woke up late because my alarm didn't ring. I rushed to the bus stop, but luckily the bus was also late, so I didn't miss it. Storytelling strengthens past tense, connectors, and natural sequencing. Why active output works. It pushes words from your passive vocabulary into your active speaking toolbox. It develops fluency muscles by making your brain produce, without waiting for someone else to guide you. It builds confidence because you practice expressing yourself freely without fear of judgment. Practical step. For the next 7 days, choose one of these active output activities each day. Morning plan. Say out loud what you'll do today, step by step. Midday role play. Imagine a short conversation you might have if you were abroad. Evening story. Tell the story of your day, including emotions and details. Record one of these practices at least twice during the week. When you listen back, you'll notice where you pause, repeat, or simplify too much. That's where you need to grow. Daniel's daily recordings became a mirror for his progress. At first, he cringed at every mistake, but over time he began to notice clear improvement. His sentences flowed more smoothly. His voice sounded more confident and alive. And in team meetings, he no longer stayed quiet, he contributed naturally. Recording himself turned from something scary into his most powerful learning tool. Why recording yourself works. Awareness. You notice mistakes you never hear in real time. Correction. You can practice those weak spots immediately. Progress tracking. By comparing old and new recordings, you see clear growth, which builds motivation. Confidence. Once you get used to hearing your own voice, speaking in front of others feels less intimidating. Practical step. For the next 5 days, record yourself speaking for 3 minutes each day. You can tell the story of your day. Summarize a short article or video you watched. Give a mini speech about a topic you like. Then, first listen without pausing, just notice flow and naturalness. Second listen. Take notes on specific grammar slips, unclear words, or flat intonation. Practice and re-record. Fix those weak points and say it again. By the end of the week, you'll not only hear your mistakes more clearly, but you'll also hear how much more fluent you've become. As Daniel kept practicing and recording himself, something amazing started to happen. He could hear a clear difference in his speaking. His words came out more smoothly, his sentences sounded more natural, and his voice had more confidence. Even his team members noticed the change. They told him they liked how he was speaking more clearly and joining the discussions more. Daniel's story shows us something very important. Recording yourself and checking your own speaking may feel uncomfortable at first, but it is one of the fastest ways to improve. It helps you see your weak points and fix them quickly. Here's a simple way you can try it too. Choose a topic you know very well, maybe your job, your hobby, or your daily routine. Speak about it for 2 minutes and record yourself on your phone. Then, listen to the recording twice. The first time you listen, don't try to judge yourself too much. Just notice the general flow. Does it sound natural? Do you feel comfortable listening to it? The second time, listen more carefully. Ask yourself, do my sentences connect well, or do they sound broken? Are there long pauses where I don't need them? Do I raise or lower my voice at the end of sentences? Am I repeating the same words again and again? Then pick only one small thing to improve. Record yourself again, but this time focus on fixing that one thing. Little by little, this habit will make you more confident and more fluent. Another very useful practice is summarizing and retelling. This trains your brain to listen, understand, and then speak quickly. It makes your brain work faster in English. Here's how you can do it. Summarize a short clip. Find a very short English news report or podcast, maybe 1 or 2 minutes long. Listen to it once or twice. Then pause and try to explain the main idea in 1 or 2 sentences out loud. Don't worry about being perfect. Just focus on saying the main point quickly. Retell a story. Find something a little longer, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. After listening, try to tell the whole story again in your own words. Don't focus on every small detail. Instead, talk about the main people, the order of events, and the most important ideas. As a practical step, you can search YouTube for a very short English video about something you like: sports, cooking, travel, anything. Watch it once. Then pause the video and try to explain what you just saw as if you are telling a friend. If you have a real friend or a language partner, even better, explain it to them directly. The important thing is not perfection. The important thing is to train your brain to quickly remember and then speak. This skill is very useful in real conversations. Another practice you can do is responsive drills. These exercises help you answer quickly without planning too much. Many English learners stop too often because they're trying to think of the perfect sentence. Responsive drills teach you to just say something naturally. Here are 2 examples. Rapid question and answer. Find a list of common English questions such as, "What's your favorite food?" or "What did you do yesterday?" Set a timer for 10 to 15 seconds. Read the question and immediately answer it out loud before the time ends. Don't worry about mistakes. The goal is speed and confidence, not perfection. Simulated dialogues. Use a language learning app that gives you pretend conversations, or find some conversation starters online. Imagine you are really talking to someone. Answer naturally, as if you were in the real situation. These drills prepare your brain for real-life conversations, where people expect quick responses. But remember this. Even though practicing alone is powerful, the most important step is to talk to real people. Self-practice gives you confidence, but using English in real conversations is where you grow the most. When you interact with others, you get real feedback, you feel the natural speed of English, and you learn to respond in the moment. So, use all these methods: recording yourself, summarizing, retelling, quick Q&A, and simulated dialogues, but never forget to bring your English into real life. That is where your speaking truly becomes strong. Sometimes it can feel really hard to find chances to speak English, especially if you don't live in an English-speaking country. But don't worry, the world is more connected than ever. Opportunities to practice English are often closer than you think. One very useful practice is retelling a story. Listen to a short story, maybe 3 to 5 minutes long. Then, try to tell the story in your own words. Don't worry about remembering every detail. Focus on the order of events, the main people, and the key ideas. This helps you connect your thoughts and tell stories smoothly in English. A practical step: find a very short English video under 2 minutes on YouTube about a topic you like. Watch it once. Then pause the video and try to explain what you just saw to an imaginary friend. If you have a real friend or language partner, even better, tell them. Focus on explaining clearly and simply, even if you pause or make mistakes. This practice trains your brain to remember information quickly and speak naturally, which is very important for real conversations. Another helpful practice is responsive drills, which prepare you for real conversations. These drills train you to answer quickly, without thinking too much or stopping too often. Rapid Q&A. Find a list of common questions people ask in conversation. Set a timer for 10 to 15 seconds for each question. Read or listen to the question, then answer out loud within that time. Don't stop yourself, just say something. The goal is to speak quickly and naturally, not perfectly. Simulated dialogues. Use a language learning app with pretend conversations, or find conversation starters online. Imagine you are really talking to someone. Answer as naturally as possible, just like in a real conversation. Even with these great self-practices, talking to real people is very important. You need to use English actively in real life. And even if you're not in an English-speaking country, there are many ways to make this happen. Let me tell you the story of Sam, a passionate environmental activist from Rio de Janeiro. Sam had big goals. He wanted to attend international meetings and work with groups around the world. But he had one big fear: speaking English in front of people, especially native speakers. He said, "I can write papers in English, but when I try to speak my urgent ideas in a discussion, my voice just gets small. I need more chances to speak, but I don't know where to find them regularly." I suggested Sam become a networker, not just for work connections, but for English-speaking friends and language partners. Language exchange apps. Sam used apps like Tandem and HelloTalk. He didn't just write messages, he looked for people who wanted to send short voice notes or have 5 to 10-minute voice calls. He focused on people learning Portuguese, so both sides had a reason to talk. This made speaking less stressful. He even scheduled weekly calls and made them a fixed part of his routine. Online communities for his interests. Sam joined online groups and chat rooms about environmental science. At first, he just read and listened. But then, he joined voice chats during workshops or informal discussions. He wasn't perfect at speaking at first, but by listening carefully and speaking even a little, he gradually became more confident. Sam's story shows that even if you're not surrounded by English speakers, you can still create real speaking opportunities. By using apps, joining online communities, and practicing regularly, you can gradually build confidence and start speaking naturally in English. Even if you're not in an English-speaking country, there are many ways to practice and improve your speaking. Sam, our environmental activist from Rio, used several methods to create real opportunities to speak English. Virtual tutors, coaches, and online lessons. Sam invested in a few lessons with an online English teacher. The teacher focused on helping him speak clearly in public and gave personal advice. These lessons helped him correct old mistakes and practice expressing his ideas in a confident way. Local opportunities. Even though English wasn't the main language in his city, Sam found ways to practice. He joined a local hiking group that sometimes included international members or tourists. He volunteered at a community center that hosted English-speaking events and helped international visitors. He also searched for conversation tables or meetups, often organized by universities or cultural centers specifically for English practice. By actively seeking out these chances, Sam gained confidence. He learned to start conversations, ask for clarification when he didn't understand something, and even contribute his ideas spontaneously. Within a year, he wasn't just attending international meetings, he was actively taking part in discussions, speaking with clear, confident English. His journey shows that finding and creating opportunities to speak regularly, even in unexpected ways, is key to fluency. Dealing with nerves when speaking to native speakers. It's completely normal to feel nervous when talking to native speakers. They may speak quickly, use slang or idioms, and it can feel intimidating. But most native speakers are kind, patient, and happy that you're trying to communicate. Here are some tips to make it easier. Start with a simple phrase. Don't wait for them to speak first. Say something like, "Hi, how are you today?" Or, "Excuse me, could you give me a hand?" Ask for clarity if needed. If you don't understand something, it's perfectly fine to ask, "Could you say that again, please?" Or, "Could you speak a little slower?" Native speakers appreciate when you try and want to help. Focus on meaning, not perfection. They care about understanding your message, not perfect grammar. If you make a mistake, just keep going. Watch and copy. Pay attention to how native speakers move their body, how their voice rises and falls, and how they express ideas. Try to gently copy their style. This helps you sound more natural. Let me tell you about Elena, a chef from Italy. Elena moved to a small town in England to work at a local restaurant. She was very skilled at cooking, and she could understand recipes and talk about ingredients well. But when customers talked about their day or told jokes, she often felt lost. She would nod and smile, but inside, she felt disconnected and frustrated. One evening, a regular customer, an older lady with a very strong local accent, started telling a long story about her cat. Elena only caught a few words like cat and mischievous. The rest of the story was a blur. She felt embarrassed, her face got hot, and she wished she could disappear into the kitchen. The next day, she decided to take action. I suggested she start a local talk log, a daily practice to record and review her conversations. This helped her track new words, phrases, and expressions she heard in real situations and gave her a way to slowly become more comfortable speaking with locals. Elena's improvement came step by step. Every time a customer used a phrase she didn't understand or spoke in a way that confused her, she quickly wrote it down after they left. She also made a note of the situation. For example, she wrote down pulling my leg when a customer joked with her. Later, she looked it up and found out it meant teasing me.
She didn't stop there.
Elena started watching local TV shows and listening to local radio, paying close attention to the accents and common phrases people used. When she heard something she didn't understand, she asked her kind boss for help. One time she asked, "What does chuffed to bits mean?" Her boss explained that it meant very pleased. Slowly, Elena started to pick up the local rhythm and the common sayings. She learned that proper could mean very or really, and that sorted meant everything is arranged. One busy Saturday, the same older lady returned to the restaurant. This time, she talked about her garden. Elena not only understood her, but when the lady mentioned a big problem with slugs, Elena bravely said, "Oh, that's a real pain, isn't it?" Using a common English expression she had heard before, the lady's eyes lit up and she smiled. "It's a right pain," she said. Elena felt a warm glow inside. She realized she wasn't just serving food anymore. She was connecting with people. Her English wasn't perfect, but it was real, and it was enough. Elena's story shows that even small daily efforts to engage with local speech can open a whole new world of connection. Now, let's look at another example. Hayoki, a passionate gamer from Tokyo. Hayoki loved playing online video games, especially team-based strategy games. He was good at the games, but he often felt frustrated because he couldn't communicate well with his teammates, who were from all over the world and mostly spoke English. In his English classes, he was quiet and worried about grammar and sounding awkward. But in the game, he had to speak. He couldn't just type. He needed to shout commands, ask for help, and explain strategies in real time. At first, it was rough. He would say things like, "Enemy there left," or "Need help me." His teammates were patient, but sometimes mistakes led to losing the game. Hayoki decided to use his passion for gaming to improve his English. He started listening carefully to how his teammates spoke, picking up common gaming phrases like "pushing B," "covering my flank," or "watch out." He repeated them to himself and tried to use them in the next game. He also watched English-speaking gamers on YouTube and Twitch. He paid attention not just to the game, but to how they spoke naturally, how they expressed excitement, frustration, or surprise. He learned contractions like "don't" and "can't," and filler words like and "you know," which made his speech sound more natural. One evening, during an intense match, Hayoki found himself confidently shouting, "They're going to flank us from the right. I got your back. Push through." After the game, his teammates, who he only knew through voice chat, said, "Dude, your English is getting really good." That simple compliment gave him a huge confidence boost. Hayoki realized something important. Because he was focused on the game, the fear of making mistakes didn't matter. He was just communicating. His passion gave him a powerful reason and a low-pressure environment to practice English, and it worked. Both Elena and Hayoki's stories show that finding ways to connect with English naturally through daily life, work, or hobbies can make speaking easier, more confident, and more enjoyable. This story really shows that finding a passion or hobby where you need to use English can completely change your speaking skills. Using English in real situations that matter to you can make learning feel natural and fun. Learning to speak English easily, confidently, and naturally is not something that happens overnight. It is not a short sprint, it's a long race. It is a beautiful journey of change and growth. Along the way, you will have days when everything feels easy, when words come out quickly, and your English feels smooth. But there will also be days when it feels slow, when you stumble over words, when you wonder if you are really getting better. This is completely normal. It happens to everyone who is learning deeply. The key to long-term success, to really reaching your full speaking potential, is patience, consistent effort, and remembering your deeper why. Think of learning English like growing a majestic old tree. A tree doesn't grow tall and strong overnight. It grows slowly, day by day. It grows through sunshine and rain, through strong winds and calm days. Every tiny root it spreads, and every new leaf it grows is a small step toward its full size. Your English speaking ability grows in the same way. Every conversation you have, every phrase you learn, every mistake you make and learn from, these are the small, quiet things that build your fluency over time. On hard days, when you feel frustrated or think you are not improving, pause and remember why you started. Is it because you want to travel and meet new people? To do better at work and communicate on international projects? To enjoy movies, books, or music in English without translation? Or maybe just for the joy and satisfaction of learning something new? Keep that reason in your mind. Let your why guide you and motivate you. It is the fuel that pushes you forward when the learning feels difficult. It's also very important to celebrate your milestones, both small and big. We talked before about small wins, like using a new phrase correctly or finishing a short conversation. But bigger successes are just as important. Maybe you spoke for 15 minutes completely in English for the first time, or handled a tricky situation with a native speaker, or gave a presentation in English at work. These are major achievements. Notice them. Give yourself credit. Share your success with someone who supports you. These moments are proof of your progress, and they build strong, lasting confidence. Another important idea is to embrace the tough middle part of learning. This is the stage between being a beginner and being very fluent. It can feel frustrating because it sometimes seems like you are not improving quickly. But even when progress feels slow, your brain is still learning. Every time you practice, listen, or speak, your mind is connecting words, building sentences, and learning deeply. Even small steps count. They all move you forward. Remember, your English learning is not about speaking perfectly every time. It's about connection, communication, and courage. It's about using your voice to share ideas, connect with people from other cultures, and express who you are. So, dear English learners, remember this. Learning to speak English is not just about grammar or vocabulary. It is a life-changing journey. Every conversation, every mistake, every small win, and every new phrase you learn is part of your growth. Be patient, stay committed, celebrate your wins, and keep moving forward. Your effort and courage are what will make you truly successful in speaking English. Learning to speak English is about more than just words. It's about gaining confidence, opening your world, and connecting with people from all over the globe. The words you speak, even if they aren't perfect at first, are like bridges. They connect you to new people, new ideas, and new opportunities. Remember the main message from today. Be brave, not perfect. Let go of the fear of making mistakes. Every mistake is not a failure. It is a teacher. Every error is a step forward on your journey to speaking English easily. Focus on speaking easily over being perfectly correct. Keep the conversation flowing. Share your ideas even if your sentences aren't perfect. Your main goal is communication, not perfection. Train your brain to think directly in English. Try not to translate from your native language. Make English your first language in your thoughts. Become a phrase hunter. Collect natural phrases and groups of words you hear from native speakers. Use them actively in your conversations and practice. Use shadowing. Listen to how native speakers speak, the rhythm, the speed, and the way their voice goes up and down.
Try to copy it.
This helps you sound natural and understand spoken English better. Practice active speaking. Talk to yourself, record your voice, and listen back. Summarize what you hear in English. This builds real speaking skill and confidence. Look for chances to speak. Every opportunity matters, no matter how big or small. Talk to friends, online partners, or even strangers. The more you use English, the more comfortable you will become. You've already learned so much. You can read English, write it, and understand it. Now it's time to make it come alive with your voice. Yes, the journey will have good days and hard days. Some days you will feel motivated and fluent. Other days, it will feel slow and difficult. That is completely normal. Every word you speak, every sentence you form, is helping you grow. Every small step builds your confidence and opens new doors for you. Thank you for joining me today on Super English Talks. I hope this episode has given you courage, inspiration, and practical ways to practice your speaking. If you found this helpful, please like this video. Your support helps us reach more learners just like you. Comment below with one new way you will practice this week, or share a small English success you've recently had. I love reading your stories. They inspire future episodes. And don't forget to subscribe to Super English Talks so you never miss daily tips, lessons, and inspiring stories. Keep listening, keep learning, and most importantly, keep talking. Your voice in English is beautiful, and the world is waiting to hear it. Until next time, happy speaking.